What's good, fam? It's Gen Z Daddy here, and today I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know before you move out of your parents' house. Because, newsflash, moving out of your parents' house is actually a pretty big deal. So, first and foremost, I want you to ask yourself, why are you trying to move out right now? Is it for freedom? Is it for social status? Does it feel forced? Do you just not like your current situation? Know those answers to your questions, because if it's strictly for social status, I can tell you right now, stay at your parents' house. That's not worth it. If it's strictly for freedom, depends how old you are. If you're 18 and you want the freedom, I get it, but I would still stick with your parents' house. If you're 24, 25, 26 and want the freedom, yeah, it's time to move out. Is it forced? Are you too old? Did your parents, honey, you can't live here no more? It's time to go. I want you to respect the current situation in life you are, the current stage in life you are. Sometimes when I was 16, 17, 18, I would just wish that I had a license, had a car. I would just wish that I had an apartment. And it's very natural for us to want to become independent and fledge into adulthood, but really appreciate the stage in life you're at right now. If you are younger, if you are 16 through 20, respect that. You know what? You don't need to have all these things that adults have yet. Just respect being a kid. It's chill. It's cool. You'll get there eventually. Like, no rush. Make sure you're taking the right steps towards it, but don't rush into it. I think for myself, I rushed into becoming an adult as quick as possible because I thought that's just what you do. I thought at 18, you become an adult and you're basically supposed to move out. But in today's day and age, at 2025, you really don't have to move out at 18, especially if your parents are willing to let you continue to live with them while you go to college, while you start a trade. There is not a huge rush to move out at 18, but I felt like society was rushing me. It's a regret to let what society says influence what I do so much, and it's something I'm constantly trying to work on. Next, I want you to realize that this is a big life change. If you're moving from your parents' house, be prepared for changes in your relationship with both your parents, siblings, anyone else who used to live at that house with you. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you're going from seeing these people every day to seeing them a couple times a week, once a week. And the relationship will change. It doesn't mean that your mom or dad will love you any less. It just means that you're an adult now and you see them less and you might talk to each other different. Like, it's less of a kid to mom, kid to dad experience and more almost like a friend, like friends talking to each other. At least that's how it felt for me, especially with my mom. I know that nowadays, as a 27-year-old, my mom will always be my mom and I always love her, but I feel like we almost talk to each other more as friends, and I'll go to her for mom advice, but outside of that, outside of the times when I'm like, I need mom advice, we're pretty much just friends talking, and it's cool. I really value that, but be prepared for those types of changes. Also, bills are a real thing and they don't stop, and every first of the month you got them and they suck. Bills. Ugh. I got bills. You got bills. He got bills. We all got bills. All right. Let me tell you, $650 a month right now for my apartment is very doable, but it doesn't ever stop. You're always going to have to pay bills. There is a grace period sometimes, but just be aware and be prepared that if you don't have steady income, the bills are steady. They be coming. One thing I want to tell you, especially if you're very young and 18, because this is kind of a naive thing. I'm sure if you're in your mid-20s, you don't think about it like this, but I want you to know that getting an apartment doesn't guarantee you women. I know that when I moved out in high school, I thought for sure, man, this is going to make all the girls at school like me. This is going to make getting a girlfriend so simple, and it doesn't guarantee you anything. And it just guarantees you bills. Remember, we talked about that. So don't take your current situation for granted. Don't move out because you just want one thing or you think something's guaranteed because of you moving out. Respect what you have right now. And as long as you're being constructive with your time, it really shouldn't be a huge deal if you're staying into your early 20s. If you are trying to move out, right? Say the situation's right, it's time, you're ready, you've worked for a little bit, you have the money. Here are some things that I want you to keep in mind for when you do move out. Ask yourself a couple questions. Where do you want to live? Because there are different places to live when you move out. For example, you can live in an apartment complex. This is where you have neighbors like really close to you who also live, basically live right next door to you. And it's cool, it's chill, but you live in an apartment complex and usually it's like 180 Country Manor apartment 14. All right. I lived there one time. Not giving away any other details because someone might live there right now, but that's an apartment complex. There's also split homes that you can rent out. Right now, I currently live in a split home, and I much prefer this. I think split homes are pretty dope. You have the neighbor that you live with that just lives in the unit next to you, but you guys live in a house. Basically, it's take the house you're living in right now, split it in half. You guys are still living in a house, but one family lives in one side and one family lives on the other side, and that's a split home. So you'll be living in one side of a house, basically. And that's chill. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's what I'm rocking right now. You can also just like rent out a house, a complete house, and that's obviously going to be more expensive than a split home, but those are things that you can do. So ask yourself, where do you want to live next? It's important to know what amenities that you'll be looking for. Some important ones that people are like, oh, what do I ask about? I got you covered. Don't worry. So what I would ask is, hey, where am I going to be parking? Some places have off-street parking. Some places you park in the back of the parking lot reserved for 2 cars for that unit. So you just need to know where you're parking. It might seem obvious for some places, and some places are not so obvious. So if it's obvious, roll with it. If not, make sure you ask. Another thing that I always make sure to ask about is, where's my laundry? Where do I do washing and drying action? Because every place is different. Some places offer you a washer and dryer for yourself that you can just use, and that's really nice. And then other times it's paid for, and you have a card, and you have to pay $2 for a wash and $2 for a dry, and it's really annoying. That's usually found in apartment complexes. And then sometimes there is just straight up nothing, and you have to supply your own washer and dryer, or there is no room for it, and you have to go to the laundromat. Those stink. I don't like that, but sometimes it's not a deal breaker for people. So just make sure you ask what the laundry situation is. Also, take a look and see if there's a dishwasher. For me, I really don't mind personally hand washing my dishes, but I know a lot of people hate that, and they really value a dishwasher. Also, you're going to want to ask who takes care of the yard work. Because if you rent a split home and then you find out that you're in charge of mowing the lawn, doing like the little landscaping stuff, like making everything look nice, it might sway your opinion because some people just don't want to do that. Make sure you're also understanding if the landlord is paying electric, water, waste, and heat. Because some of that stuff is included, some of that stuff you pay extra. So you might have to set up a RG&E account, or you might have to set up a waste management account in your name for those services to take effect. Understand if there's a pet fee that needs to be paid. A lot of times renting places will let pets through, but it's an additional fee because animals are risks. Animals tear up carpets, animals pee places, and animals make noise. So animals, while I love them and I think they're amazing and I want a dog one day and I have a bunny right now and I think they're just awesome, they are a risk when it comes to a landlord's perspective. So usually there is an extra fee and you just have to understand that up front. Sometimes certain breeds are not allowed. Just know what you're getting yourself into. Know what the lease length is. A lot of time leases are month to month or year to year or like 18 months. And just know what you're getting yourself into. If you're 18 years old and they want you on a 18-month lease, where's that going to put you? What do you have planned? Are you trying to go to college far away? know the lease length. It's important, even if you're 40 years old. Just it's a good rule of thumb. I know throughout the years, it's been 9 years since I've lived on my own. Paying rent has always changed. When I lived in an apartment complex, I had to go online to the apartment complex site and log into my account and pay rent that way. When I lived in my first split home, I had to go down to the landlord's place of work and give her cash. And now I Venmo my landlord. You got to know how you can pay rent. When rent's due, a lot of times there's a grace period for like the first 5 days. And some are sticklers and it's always due on the first. Just know when rent is due and how to pay it. Also, understand that there are quiet hours in a lot of apartment complexes where you might have to be quiet from the hours of 11 to 7 or like 10 to 6. Just know when quiet hours are, and if that lines up with you, that's good. Also, especially if you're on the younger side, a good rule of thumb is to keep rents from exceeding about 40% of your total income. When I first moved out, I was 18, and I was working 2 and later 3 jobs to support myself and have enough money to pay rent. I would do it differently now, but I did it that way when I was 18, and my rent was $400 and I made $300 a week. So it was about a third of my paycheck total, like throughout the month. And it was doable, but if it was much more than that, paying the other bills and doing everything else would be tough. So a good rule of thumb is about 40% or like 1/3 if you can. If you get closer to a half, it's probably too expensive and I would advise going somewhere else. Last but not least, I want to talk about security deposit, because sometimes, especially if this is your first apartment that you're going into, you're gonna wonder what exactly a security deposit is and why do people use it and like what is it for. So a security deposit is usually an additional month's rent paid at the beginning of the lease, used to ensure any damage the property undergoes during your stay is paid for by you and not the landlord. So if you pay, hypothetically, if you're signing onto a lease that is $1,000 per month and they require the first month's rent and a security deposit upfront, the security deposit will usually be another $1,000. And that's to cover that when you move out, if you brought along little Toasty Boy, the bunny, that if he eats carpets or pees everywhere, that $1,000 that you gave to your landlord upfront at the beginning will cover those costs. That's what a security deposit does. And if there is no damage or nothing outrageous at the end of the lease length, you do get your security deposit back. It's not right for them to keep it because that's your money. I do also want to state, when I was 18 and moved out for the first time, I moved out with my older brother and my older brother's friend. And I had a great relationship with them. They were awesome. Understand that when you move out with people, if you don't currently live with them right now, you're moving out with a friend, it might change the dynamic of the relationship. And you're going to see that person every day. You're going to become that person more. You are who you hang out with. And that's okay, but just changes are going to happen. And make sure that the changes that happen are the changes that you want to happen. So don't take lightly who you move out with. It is a big decision. This is a big life transition. And I hope that eases the anxiety a little bit. And I hope that also helps you feel relieved that if you are 18 and you just feel like, I have to move out right now, you really don't. You got time.